Heading into Pomona for the World Finals, we see another classic championship battle in funny car between now the big four of Matt Hagan, Ron Capps, Robert Height, and Bob Tasker III. We will surely see an incredible ending to what has been an historic season for the NHRA, and if this year has been any indication, it can easily go down to the final round. As we prepare to see the teams hit the track for the final time, let's take a look back to one of the all-time classic funny car battles between three titans of the sport, and one of the last to happen under the full season point structure. Before we get into the video, I want to give a quick reminder that over 95% of the viewers watching these videos aren't subscribed, so if you happen to enjoy this video or any of the other historic or race day recap content we've made this year, then please subscribe and share the videos you enjoy as we plan to get back into making more history content over the winter across the multiple forms of racing. Also, if you don't mind, the person who has been proofreading my scripts, Chris Hardy, just got married recently, so please be sure to go visit his Twitter, congratulate him and his new bride, and be sure to watch his videos as well, as he has also started to make his own historic motorsport videos. Heading into the 2005 NHRA AAA of Southern California Finals, 2 of the 4 championships had all been decided, with Tony Schumacher running away and clinching another top fuel title and Greg Anderson winning his 3rd Pro Stock title in a row, while the Vance and Hines team of Andrew Hines and GT Tongler were left to fight for the Pro Stock Motorcycle Championship with a 47-point gap. However, all the focus was put on the funny car title as an historic points fight had come down to the final race of the season with 3 drivers in a 28-point battle. Leading the points going into Pomona was 3-time Top Fuel champion Gary Scelzi. Racing for Don Schumacher Racing, he looked to become the 2nd driver in NHRA history to win a championship at both Top Fuel and funny car. With 5 final round appearances and 3 wins coming in 2005 at Bristol, Chicago 1, and Sonoma, and only 6 first round losses throughout the year, he found himself in the catbird seat and the closest to the NHRA Funny Car Championship. Only 2 points behind Scelzi in the standings would be Ron Capps, who entered 2005 leaving Don Perdome Racing after an 8-year run with the team to join Gary Scelzi at Don Schumacher Racing. Paired with drag racing legend Ed the Ace McCulloch as his crew chief, Ron looked to capture his first championship after finishing runner-up in 1998 and 2000. Leading up to Pomona, Ron had made 7 final round appearances that year with 3 wins coming at St. Louis, Chicago 2, and most recently Las Vegas 2, but with 8 first round losses to match, it sees Ron Capps yet again in the bridesmaid position for the championship. Lastly, in 3rd place would be fan favorite John Force, who came into the race 28 points behind Scelzi. John came in as the defending funny car champion, as well as winning 11 of the last 12 funny car titles. He looked to capture an historic 14th championship to his legacy in one of the tightest points battle of his career. Ironically enough, the last time he was this close in a title fight was in 1990 when he beat Ed McCulloch to win his first championship. John's 2005 season saw him make 7 final rounds, where he would win 5 at Arizona, Atlanta, Columbus, Topeka, and Dallas. But with 10 first-round losses during that run and an oil down during the first round of Chicago, which resulted in a 10-point penalty, it saw him with a 28-point deficit, needing to go 2 rounds further than both Capps and Scelzi or win the event and set a new national lapse time record in the process. Following the previous national event in Las Vegas, John Force and his team stuck around for an additional 3 days of testing to prepare for Pomona, as well as ripping off all of the paint off the body and only leaving decals for the sponsors and Ford, an entire new tin work under the body that saw them strip about 30 pounds off the car, as well as shedding every unnecessary piece from the car that saw them enter Pomona 55 pounds lighter and needing to add back 15 pounds to make minimum weight. In the first qualifying session during the evening hours of the day, John Force looked to go for the national record. He would spin the tires early in the run and coast to the finish line, while Ron Capps would end up in 3rd and Scelzi in 6th. During round 2, things started to hit the fan, as while John was staging the car, he would be told to shut it off due to a light malfunction in the starting line. This would be an advantage for Force, as because of the bad run during session 1, he was scheduled to be one of the first cars to hit the track. This incident gave John the chance to either back it up to the water box and do it again, or push his car to the back of the line so his team could repair the car and run last. John would obviously decide to run last and trying to go for the cooler conditions, which caused a protest from Schumacher over the decision that the NHRA stood by. Capps and Scelzi would again run in the same pair, which would see Capps spin the tires while Scelzi ran a career low 4.696. John would fail to break the national record running 4.761 and end up in 8th. In session 3, Ron Capps would see his car drift towards the center where not improved with a run of 4.808. John's car would shake at about a half track and keep in the 8th position, and Gary Scelzi would have the final run of the 3rd session and set the low ET for the session with a 4.744. Heading into the final round of qualifying, Selzy would find himself in the best position he needed to be in order to win the championship, as that 4.696 would see him in the number 1 spot, which would reward 8 bonus points for doing so. John Force would enter in the 8th position and only have 3 bonus points, and Caps would sit behind in 9th with only 2. This would see all 3 drivers on the same side of the ladder, with John Force and Ron Capps facing each other in round 1 on Sunday, with a chance of facing Gary Selzy in round 2. John would improve the 5th position in his last run with a 4.716, but not in a position to set a new ET record as his backup of 4.716 would only be good enough for his 4.696. Ryan would not improve his qualifying position after running a 4.774 and falling to 10th after Gary Densham bumped him. Selzy would keep his number 1 qualifier spot and take the 8 bonus points with it, while Force qualified 6th, earning 4 points, and Capps finished 10th, only receiving 2. Selzy would find himself alone on his side of the ladder facing Tim Wilkerson in round 1, and Force and Capps would have the potential to face each other in semifinals sitting on the opposite side of the ladder. Ron Capps would face Dale Worsham in round 1 without lane choice, with the possibility of facing either Cruz Pedregon or Jim Head in round 2, while John Force would face Whit Bazemore with a chance of either facing Tony Pedregon or Frank Pedregon. With the bonus points now awarded for qualifying, Selzy would now see himself holding on to an 8-point gap to Ron Capps and a 32-point gap to John Force.
Gary Selzy, Ron Capps, John Force, all 3 trying to stay calm when you know inside their stomach is tied in knots. Force firing up the troops.
Okay, remember this, guys. This is not about them. This is about who we are. Hey, 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 hey.
2 championships have yet to be decided, and 5 drivers have ulcers from the pressure. The funny car chase is the closest in the history of the NHRA, and 3 drivers can grab the title. John Force is eyeing an unprecedented 14th championship, but to do it, he has to get past 2 others. Ron Capps can smell his first ever crown, but will his nerves cost him when it counts? And Gary Selzy is looking to become only the 2nd driver ever to win a championship in both Top Fuel and Funny Car. Anything less than perfection could cost him a shot at history.
Capps would be the first pair down the racetrack, lining up against Tim Wilkerson in the left lane, which had been having problems in the morning of the race. Capps would cut a .048 light and run a 4.765 at 326 miles an hour, seeing him advance to round 2 where he would face Cruz Pedregon. Gary Selzy would be slow on the tree and have to drive around Wilkerson to win his round 1 matchup, and in John's matchup, he would take out Whit Bazemore, spin the tires past the tree and cross the center line, while John danced the car down the track and almost crossed the center lane as well. In round 2, we see our first challenger fall as Capps would face off against Cruz Pedregon with a lane choice. Capps would choose to run the preferred right lane and would lose to Cruz off the starting line. He would quickly drive around it before smoking the tires and eliminating himself from the championship possibility.
Can you express the moment, the disappointment?
Not right now. It's going to hurt worse as the day goes on, I'm sure. I know he's running good. I mean, Ace went in there and turned some knobs and had lane choice. The track was good. It just pulled him loose out there. But we felt pretty confident. I'm not sure what happened. You know, it's just as a slow weight. It's slowly coming down on me. It's been fun, man. It's been good. The stands are packed with people, so it's cool. Sad for Ace, man, more than anything. But Fruit Guy's hell of a year. You know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully Selzy can go on and we keep Force out of taking it around him. But I'm sure those Oakley guys are real happy back there. It's just bitter disappointment. We'll be okay.
It's been a grand ride. Thank you.
Thanks.
Tommy Johnson Jr. faced off against Gary Selzy and pull off the upset in a clean head-to-head race where the Verdome Racing driver would take out the points leader. This gave John Force the chance he needed to win the championship if he could advance to the finals and win the national event as he sat behind Gary in his station lanes in his round 2 matchup against his former driver Tony Pedregon.
Let's go to the far end quickly. Gary.
Gary Selzy, it now becomes a nightmare and a waiting game. Tell us your emotions.
I did everything I could do. I mean, I went in, stole a chunk, thought I was on time. You know, it's one of those things. I mean, like I said, we did everything we could do. It just wasn't good enough. So now it's the waiting game. We'll see what happens. And we gave it a hell of a shot this year, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Good job, Tom.
And as Gary stood on the top end with his team watching the monitor, we got to see one of the greatest points battles come to a close.
Just a matter of minutes.
The pressure is enormous, both on Selzy, because he's now helpless. He cannot do anything else. It's up to Force. Here we go. The win light to Tony Pedregon. The championship is over. For the first time in 13 years, Team Force is defeated. And Gary Scelzi is your new funny car champion.
I love you, man. Gary Scelzi. Scelzi, turn around. I knew he wanted you on this.
Tony Pedregon beats John Force in a hole shot. A 477 to the quicker but losing 475. Let's go talk to the first man in 13 years other than Team Force to ever hold up the championship trophy.
And you wonder if the congratulations will ever end. I saw the biggest sigh that I've ever seen in my life when that happened, and I know I saw tears behind those Oakleys. Tell us about this last 3 minutes, what it's been like.
You know what? It's actually been good up until the point when I didn't get the win light. And my mother and father are at home right now. And man, I just didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, I knew I was going to give everything I had, but I thought, man, Caps is driving so good and they're doing so well. Ace is sick. It might just be fate, you know. And I wanted to be the one to make a big move and do something, because Zippy has just been so incredible. And Don and Matco and Oakley, and everybody knows the sponsors of Matco Tools and Gates. But man, what an emotional deal. To win a funny car championship, I didn't realize how much, I was prepared for the worst right now. And I can't tell you. I mean, this little wop can't talk right now. It's just, Mom and Dad, I love you. And congratulations to us.
Absolutely.
There's something that goes along with it. There's the trophy, and behind him, a check for $400,000. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
On a hole shot victory, Tony Pedregon would take out a 13-time champion and in John Force Racing's 13-year championship streak, including Tony's 2003 title. Gary Scelzi would become the 2005 NHRA Funny Car World Champion for the first time in his career. As for the rest of the event for Funny Car, Eric Mellon would see himself advance to the final round after beating Tommy Johnson Jr. in the semis, but would blow the motor and have the parachutes deploy late, resulting in Eric riding into the sand trap and damaging the car. It would be an all-hands-on-deck situation to get Eric's car ready for his final round appearance against Tony Pedregon. The team would piece it back together and even run John Force's body with Eric's name and car number duct taped over John's, and after a valiant effort, the car would not make it off the line cleanly and Tony Pedregon would win the final race of the 2005 season and the 29th of his career. Gary Scelzi would capture his 4th NHRA Pro Championship and join Kenny Bernstein as the only people to win a championship in both Funny Car and Top Fuel Dragster. And 10 years later would have another member join as Dale Worsham won a Top Fuel title in 2011 and his Funny Car title in 2015, now making it 3 people to have achieved such an accomplishment. And that'll wrap up for the video. Thank you guys for watching, and again, if you like the content we've made this year, be sure to subscribe to the channel, as we do plan to make more historic videos throughout the off-season and into next year. You can also keep up with what's going on with the channel by following the social media links down below, and be sure to like, comment, and share the video as well to help grow the video. This has been Mighty Mac, and I will see you next time.